All praises, all honor, all glory be unto Yahweh. Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakah, Kodash. Double honors to the apostle elders of Great Millstone that rule well. Peace and salutation to Allah Akim doing and pushing this word in sincerity and truth worldwide. And a sincere shalom to the elect. Now I want to get into this lesson here on this guy's Sleepy Joe. Again, the remarks that he made. You know, he's a 2/3, man. What can you say? Okay? And who the hell cares about your opinion? Okay? Who the fuck at the end of the year, day and week gives a shit about your opinion? Or who you are, what not, or your view of the Hebrew Israelites as you know, he was diving into, right? When the Lord separated us, right, we're gonna go into that just now. He didn't say here's the black nation, you know, here's the Chinese nation, here's the Indian nation. You know, he didn't give us those labels, okay? We all have a heritage. We all have, you know, inheritance, right? We all have a heritage going back to a people, okay? So when this guy's, you know, going into what he's saying, we were called black before and this and that and blah, blah, blah. You know, those are all covering cast, man. Get to who we are. Who are we, okay? Who are we as a people in the world? And, you know, if who are we, who are they, okay? And the Lord clearly gave us a description of who they are in the scriptures. This is why, you know, they don't believe truly and really and truly. The pastors that they got, okay, those false pastors, they don't know what the hell's going on when you you know, go into prophecy, all right? And they're not guiding the world right. They're not telling the world about the elect. They're not telling the world about major prophecies such as the MOTB and the third world's woe, okay, to come. They're not guiding these people right, okay? So this Sleepy Joe wants to make mention of who we are, but I don't see you on the highways and byways. I don't see you, you know, with your YouTube video breaking down the scriptures. You're doing none of those things, okay? But at the same time, here it is, you're trying to tell us who we are or what we should think of ourselves. Anyways, let's get into the scriptures, man, because these guys, you know, their losses all day, okay? Scriptures clearly tell you that nations, okay? Nations, nation, okay? This is the thing that they can't get through their bone heads, man. Their thick fucking bone heads, okay? Nations, not color, okay? And then I labeled down here black, you know, black pride, black, white, Chinese, Indian, you know, all made up by man, okay? This is why in Acts, let's get that real quick, it tells you that what? We ought to obey God rather than man, okay? We're not putting our trust into man. We see where that leads, all right? As a matter of fact, I'm going to get that scripture too. Acts chapter 5 and verse 29. Then Peter and the other apostles answered and said, we ought to obey Yahweh rather than men. And where's the instruction of Yahweh? Well, it can be found right here, right where I have in my hand, okay? Or within the brother's hands, okay? Because we really know what we wielding. This sword, this word, okay? They don't. So where can the instructions be found? Or, you know, how do you obey the Most High? Well, Baruch chapter 4 and 1. This is the book of the commandments of Yahweh and the law that endureth forever. All they that keep it shall come to life, but such as leave it shall die. And that's why you see these individuals putting their trust into man, okay? You rejected the fountain of living water. You know, here it is, you talking about you know. You don't know. You have no fucking clue. You don't know. Let your yea be yea and your nay be nay. All right? Simple and plain. So going back into this, you know, we know where the instructions is found. It's found at the mouth of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. It's found in his book, okay? Salakia is found within his book. And he does what? He gives it on to his servants, the prophets, to, break these things down to the house of Israel. Okay? So going back into this, just wanted to get something real quick. We do not put our trust into man. Remember I said, black pride, black, white, Chinese, Indian, black, white, Indian, right? Yellow skin, whatever the fuck. All this is made up by man. Okay? If I'm not mistaken, Theodore W. Allen or Theodore W. Allen, okay, 1692, the invention of the white race, okay? Nobody was walking around calling each other black and white, all right? They would, as a matter of fact, if you were taken from now and sent back into those times and start speaking like that, they would probably think you have some kind of like demons on you or something, But anyways, let's go back into this. Jeremiah chapter 17 and verse 13. O Yahweh, the hope of Israel, all that forsake thee shall be ashamed. And he's one that forsake them. Okay? Along, with the rest of the 2/3. They forsake Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. And what? All that forsake thee shall be ashamed. Yeah, when that time comes, you're going to wish. Shit, I wish I was listening to those GMS guys, and the affiliates. I wish I had taken that in instead of my pride blocking my view, masking my view, okay? And they that depart from me shall be written in the earth. Yeah, you have people that came to serve the Lord, made that vow, and then they stepped away from the vow, okay? That's a shame thing to do. The Lord is going to destroy you for doing those type of things, man. When you come and make that vow, make sure you serve it all the way to the end. And what are we looking for? We're looking for salvation. So serve Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai all the way to the end, man. Give it your all, okay? Because they have forsaken Yahweh, the fountain of living water, man. Living water, Salakia, okay? Not that stagnant shit what they drinking now. Jeremiah chapter 17 and verse 5. Thus saith Yahweh, cursed be the man that trusted in man and maketh flesh his arm, and whose heart departed from Yahweh. For he shall be like the heath in the desert, and shall not see when good cometh, but shall inhabit the parched places in the wilderness, in a salt land, and not inhabited. So imagine you're a plant, a tree, and you're parched in one of these places in the world. Your roots will dry up. You're not going to bear no fruit. Your leaves are not going to be green. Therefore, you shall wither and die. And this is what's going to happen. This is part of that second death, right? That's what you're going to taste of. But what? Verse 7, blessed is the man that trusted in Yahweh, whose hope Yahweh is. For he shall be as a tree planted by the waters, that spreadeth out her roots by the river, and shall not see when heat cometh, but her leaf shall be green, and shall not be careful in the year of drought, neither shall cease from yielding fruit. Okay? This is an individual that the Lord is dealing with, okay? Not like you individuals. You see, when that bad time comes, the Lord is going to be dealing with us. We're gonna be because we're already seeking Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, right? We're putting our trust into Him, so our reward is gonna be good. Like I said, with a plant, just like it says here, if you took two plants, you put one right by the rivers of water, right? It's always gonna be nourished. It's gonna be taken care of, right? But you put that other one in a desert, salt, barren land. What do you think is going to happen? It shall perish. So the salt barren land is like the wide and broad world. The tree that's going to be fulfilled, that's going to be saved, okay, basically. That's going to, produce fruit, endure unto the end, live, is the man that trusteth in Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. But you guys who's trusting in the world, guess what your reward is, man? Death. Okay, straight up, death. All right, Salakia, 1 second. Where the fuck is that noise coming from? Yeah, so going back into this, you guys keep putting your trust into this man. Keep listening to him. Keep listening about 1 billion years and all this bullshit, his philosophies and whatnot. Keep putting your trust into him, and you'll see what takes place. Okay, let's go into the point of the matter here. Okay, the Lord separated us from these people. All right, Deuteronomy chapter 32 and verse 8. When the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel. For the Lord's portion is his people. Jacob is the lot of his inheritance. Okay? So the Lord separated nations. All right? He made nations. Right? Not this black, white, all this confusing covering cast that, Esau has laid upon the earth. Okay? And yeah, we don't care if you don't believe. All right? Let me get into that real quick. Romans chapter 3 and 3. For what if some did not believe? Shall their unbelief make the faith of God without effect? For God forbid, yea, let every God forbid, yea, let God be true, but every man a liar, as it is written, that thou mightest be justified in thy sayings, and mightest overcome when thou art judged. Okay, so your unbelief ain't gonna stop shit. Okay, the Lord sending forth his commandment and run through the world swiftly. Psalms chapter 147:15. So you're not stopping nothing. In fact, you're part of the movie. Okay, you're one of those unbelievers. Okay, the incredulity of those who don't believe. Right, you unfaithful individuals, such as this Judge Joe Brown or whatever. Okay, he's of the world, man, trying to make a change for the community. Okay, meanwhile the Lord said go look for his elect. I'm not out here community building. I'm out here looking for the elect. Okay, and that's what we're supposed to be doing. So these unfaithful individuals that don't put their faith into the words of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, into Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, they're going to be destroyed, man. It's simple and plain. Let's go to Sirach. Yep, because his talk is without sense, man. Those guys start talking, it's talk without sense. Sirach chapter 21 and verse 14. The inner parts of a fool are like a broken vessel. He will hold no knowledge as long as he liveth. And that's them. They think that they got knowledge, but that's foolishness with the Most High. All right? That's foolishness with the Most High, man. You don't have the wisdom that the Lord imparted onto us. You have the wisdom of the world, which is nothing. Okay? And going back into this, the inner parts of a fool are like a broken vessel. He will hold no knowledge as long as he liveth. Right? A broken vessel, when you pour water into it, it just spews out all the sides and stuff like that. Right? So it's much like this wisdom, knowledge and understanding. You try to give it to him, it goes in one ear and out the other. Okay? If a skillful man hear a wise word, he will commend it and add on to it. But as soon as one of no understanding heareth it, it displeaseth him, and he casts it behind his back. Okay? So when they hear about being a Hebrew Israelite, right, they cast it behind their back. It displeased them because they don't have wisdom. They don't have understanding. They don't have the spirit from the Most High to understand these things. It wasn't given to them. Okay? But a skillful man, a wise man, the man who Yahweh Hashem Yahushua is working with, yeah, he'll add on to it and commend it. You see a lot of brothers making videos. The brothers may see it, say, yeah, you know what? I got something to say. I got to get my sword wet. You know what I'm saying? Which is a righteous thing. You're not supposed to hold back your blood from your sword from the blood. Jeremiah 48 and 10, right? Ephesians chapter 6 and 17. So you're supposed to be out there getting down with the word, man. Hebrews chapter 4 and 12, right? So going back into this, if a skillful man hear a wise word, he will commend it and add on to it. So a lot of brothers, you know, like the apostle elders, they might say something, and that little 5 minute, or not even 5 minutes, like a good 40 something seconds of some strong wisdom, some good wisdom there, and the brother would take that now, commend it, add on to it, and make a video, okay, to give edification onto the flock. But a man of no understanding, he can't do that. It displeases him. He doesn't understand what's going on, and he gets all emotional in his feelings too. Sirach chapter 21, verse 19. Doctrine unto fools is as fetters on the feet, and like manacles on the right hand. You know, shackles. If you got shackles, so it's like doctrine is unto fools as fetters on the feet, and like manacles on the right hand. The right hand is a representation of your power. So you're restrained, okay? You can't do nothing. You know, these brothers, they run. We run with this word, right? We have swift movement. We're not being held down. We're like chariots, okay? We could go that angle, this angle, this angle. But onto those fools, the men of this world, is shifting. And, you know, that's why we see them coming back with the same fucking questions. Because they don't have no movement. The Lord hasn't granted unto them, you know, to be 360. You know, or they say that the chariots bend the dimensions, or they, you know, break, they define the laws of gravity, okay? And that's what we're basically doing with this word, okay? They can't. They're stuck, okay? As a matter of fact, let me see something real quick. Oh, shit. Okay. All right, cool. Verse 18, there's a reason why I read it like that. Because verse 18, man, that hits strong. Sirach 21 and 18. As is a house that is destroyed, so is wisdom to a fool. Okay, so a house that's destroyed, what good is it? You can't occupy it, you can't sleep in it, you can't use your fridge, your microwaves, whatever it may be. Okay, you can't utilize that fucking house. It's destroyed, right? So is wisdom to a fool. They can't occupy it. There's nothing they can do with it. Okay, just put it down and leave it to the professionals, as they say. And the knowledge of the unwise is as talk without sense. And that's exactly how he was. Okay, he got the manacles on the feet, you know. His talk is without sense. He talking about he going into words and this and that. And oh, they don't study enough and all. Get the hell out of here, yo. You don't study enough. It's not given unto you to know these mysteries, man. It wasn't given unto you, okay? Simple and plain. Yo, and he doesn't understand that these nations, they came to cut us off. That's why you're getting this blackity black shit, Negro and all this shit, okay? Meanwhile, everybody know who they are in the world, except for us. Psalms chapter 83 and verse 2. For lo, thine enemies, you hear that? Our enemies, okay? Our enemies did this to us, all right? Make a tumult, and obviously we know Yahweh Shem Yahushua used them as a whooping. You know, the ultimate whooping stick was Esau, but, you know, as a whooping stick to give us punishment. We were not sold for destruction, but we provoked the Most High. We moved him to wrath. Baruch chapter 4, verse 6, if I'm not mistaken. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. And it goes on to tell you the nations, Tabernacle, Edom, Moab, Ishmael, the Hagarenes, right? So all our enemies took a vow to, cut these niggas off from being who they are, man. Yeah, cut them off, man. Have them as our pets, you know what I'm saying? Shit, Slovakia. What was that? Have them as our pets, you know? Slovakia, 1 second. All these nations consulted together to cut us off from being a nation, okay? Giving us these different names. And on top of that too, the philosophies, that Jake is drinking, thinking that he's really, a Hamite, or better yet, Hamite, that Egyptian bullshit, all of that crap right there. That's what Jake is thinking, that he's actually, he's a Hamite, You're not no Hamite. You come from a nation of Israel. Lamentation chapter 2 and 15. All that passed by clapped their hands at thee. They hiss and wag their head at the daughter of Jerusalem, saying, Is this the city that men call the perfection of beauty, the joy of the whole earth? All thine enemies have opened their mouth against thee. Going back into Psalms chapter 83, we see who all the enemies are. Okay, all these different nations consented against us. They took one consent against us, saying, yeah, we're all in league. Cut these guys off from being who they are. Okay? So, okay, 1 second. All thine enemies have opened their mouth against thee. They hiss and gnash their teeth. They say, we have swallowed her up. Certainly, this is the day that we looked for. We have found. We have seen. We have seen it. Okay? So us being taken down and them looking at us now and saying, hey, look at these niggas, man. Yeah, this is what we've looked for, man. For them to be on the bottom, not knowing who they are. Okay? Yeah, this is where we want them at, man. Okay? They'll never get back to their power. All right? And people like Sleepy Joe Brown, he's under that world veil, man. Okay? He doesn't understand. Well, it's all right. We see these things, and, we're not ashamed of the gospel of Yahushua Mashiach. This is why we can stand out boldly, because the Lord gave us a spirit of boldness to speak this word, man. Not in a prideful sense, not in a sense to get puffed up, but to speak this word boldly, because we have a sure more word of prophecy. Okay? These things are going to come to pass. Numbers chapter 23 and 19. Okay? Yahweh is not a liar. So going into this, Isaiah chapter 25 and 7. And he will destroy in this mountain the face of the covering cast over all people, and the veil that is spread over all nations. See that? So the Lord is dealing with nations out here. People make up a nation, yes. Okay? So what was spread over them? A covering cast, man. A veil. And here it is. These people are walking around talking about, yeah, I'm Ethiopian. Or yeah, I'm what do you call it again? Ishmael, what do they call themselves? The Arabs, Iraqi, Iran, all that bullshit, right? Oh, I'm an American, right? Oh, I'm a West Indian. Those are all veils. Those are all covering casts, man. And this is why it told us to, Isaiah chapter 13, verse 1, or verse 2, lift ye up the banner upon the high mountain. Exalt the voice unto them. Shake the hand, meaning like curse them off, that it may go into the gates of the nobles. And it has. Okay? Romans chapter 10 and 18 tells you that, this word has gone across the whole world, man. Okay? They have no excuse, 2/3. Okay? Much like Sleepy Joe Brown. The word is out there on who we are, man. Whether you accept it or not. Romans chapter 3 and 3. Okay, whether you accept it or not, it is what it is, man. You can't bend the truth. You can't break the truth. You can't do nothing against the truth. Okay? It is what it is, man. So going back into this, that veil, it was promised that he will come out again to deceive the nations. Okay? Revelation chapter 20 and verse 3. And cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations. Did it say the Americans, the Grecians, the Chinese, you know. No, it said the nations, okay, which have biblical names. We have a biblical name, which is Yashra'Allah. He, Prince of the Power, Israel, okay? Bottom line. And we have a covenant, we have a heritage, we have inheritance, right? So, you know, guys like this, man, you know, they done took the bag. They're in the broad, right? They're out there in the world. They're not part of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, man. Okay? Neither will they be. They got to get destroyed. So going back into this, and cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And that's when he came out with his Renaissance period, you know, taking down all our images, putting up their images, right? In Revelation, it tells you spiritual Sodom in Egypt, where our Lord was X'd out, right? They took down the image of our Lord, put up their gay-ass shit, you know what I mean? And what does it say here? Till the 1,000 years, that he should deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And after that, he must be loose a little season. He's out for this little season. Okay? Verse 7, and when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison, and shall go out to deceive the nations. Once again, nations, okay, which are in the four quarters of the earth. And when we go back to the beginning of scripture here, for this lesson, what does it tell us in verse 8? When the Most High divided the nations their inheritance, okay? So we're made up of nations. We're not made up of, oh, you call this guy Chinese, so that's a people. You know, that's a people right there. Oh, the Indians. Those are all covering castes, man. They have biblical names. The Lord assigned them biblical names, man. They're in his movie. All right? So, you know, Sleepy Joe, he don't fucking understand a thing, man. He up in age. You can't put new wine in old bottles, man. This guy, he don't understand a damn thing when it comes to the Hebrew Israelites, man. All he knows is he sees black guys talking about they're Jews, okay? That's all he know in his head, right? So, you know, these type of guys right here, man, forget about it, man. The Lord ain't working with these niggas, all right? These 2/3 niggas, man. You're gonna have to come through the loins of somebody of the loins of the 144 in the kingdom, man. Okay? That's just it. So with that, hey, all praises, all honor, all glory be unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostle elders of Great Millstone that rule well. Peace and salutation to all the Akim doing and pushing his word in sincerity and truth worldwide. And a sincere shalom to the elect. I hope you're edified. Lord willing, to the next time. Wach abad babal. Shalom, Akim. Sleepy Joe, man. Sleepy Joe. Sleepy Joe. He just won't get it, man.